So that was quite a film because, of course, we met at a private viewing of Sound of Metal. And I'm just intrigued, really, you know, with the huge success it has had, not least 6 Oscar nominations, for which 2 were won, how you came to this role, how you were approached to be part of this film, and what you thought about the subject, the actual storyline.
Well, I have to say that I knew very little about the subject matter when I first took on the project. I didn't have much contact with the deaf community. I had never played the drums before. Um, I wasn't a recovering addict, at least not in the kind of narcotic sense. And so it really was an introduction into all these worlds in a way that was really eye-opening and enriching and almost quite life-changing in a way. I mean, in terms of how I came to the project, it happened really very quickly and in quite an unexpected way. It wasn't like a project that I had an eye on or was aware of. Darius Marder, writer director, I don't think he was, you know, he was kind of vaguely aware of me, but it was really my agent who I should credit with putting us in touch, saying, hey, this is a script that's gone unmade for the best part of a decade. And I think it's a brilliant script, and for some reason it can't get made. And he put us together, and when we met up, we just immediately had this affinity. I think we both had this hunger to just kind of be pushed out of our comfort zones and to take on challenges that were quite daunting. And I think for Darius, the ambition behind a film like this for his first feature was daunting but also exhilarating. And similarly for me, learning how to drum or learning sign language and also taking on the emotional kind of challenge of this project was it was exciting and also scary.
And I suppose that when you see a script, I mean, what comes first? Do you look at the script? Do you spend time with that script? Or is it equally important to see the team and to meet the team of people whom you might be working with and you know, sense that chemistry?
Well, it's really both. I mean, the script comes first. You usually read the script, and a fantastic script is the backbone of, you know, of any great project. And this was a fantastic script, that was without a doubt. And then of course the other 50% of the equation is, do you gel with your creative partners? And none are more important than your director. So in this case, you know, I wasn't sure what Darius would be like, but we just immediately clicked. I think, yeah, we're kindred spirits in many ways. And you know, he really is one of those people who has an infectious sense of self-belief, you know, and a belief in the work and what the work means and what it can do and how it can be life-changing for those who make it and those who watch it. And that sense of mission, that sense of daring, that boldness infused every creative decision he made, whether it was deciding to shoot on film and you know how expensive and time consuming that is for a low budget film, through to, I don't know, deciding that they wouldn't cheat the music and I would actually have to learn how to play the drums and actually be playing them on camera, you know, or the sound design and how ambitious and involved that was. He really just had this kind of sense of ambition and adventure and can do, which I think just inspired everyone on the team.
And I think, you know, when you had so much to do, and I would imagine that as an actor, you're very often out of your comfort zone. But here we are, you know, you're faced with having to learn American Sign Language, ASL, also play the drums and immerse yourself in the deaf community. I mean, how did you go about those steps? Because that's quite a mammoth path to embark on.
Yeah, you know, it's one step at a time, I guess. You know, one scary step at a time. And I think one thing I learned from this project there was also a kind of physical element to it in terms of working out to get to a certain kind of physique. And it's interesting because I think that the older you get, the more you realize how important it is to be able to be comfortable with discomfort.
Mm.
You know, that you have to be prepared to be terrible at playing the drums for 5.5 of those 7 months, and then just about passable for like a month. And in the week before you shoot, something clicking. You have to be prepared to be uncomfortable with it. You have to be prepared to put yourself in that position of not liking what you're doing, not thinking it's good enough, and sometimes being in, states of physical pain with your working out, or kind of emotional pain or embarrassment, or frustration. And if you can kind of push through that discomfort, then one step at a time, does lead you quite some way down the road. And it was really that process. It was really down to the patience of my teachers as well. Guy Carter on drums, Jeremy Lee Stone on American Sign Language, Leighton Grant, my physical trainer, who's also hard of hearing. So it was really a kind of, it takes a village, and it takes time.
And so with all of those disciplines, have they remained with you? Have you felt, yes, you know what, I'd quite like to continue playing the drums or continue with ASL?
Well, I maintained some friendships, in particular with Jeremy Stone, in the deaf community. And so there's, some of my rusty ASL kind of comes back to the surface when we hang out and we talk. In terms of physical training, I think that's something that's become a part of my life. Just because I kind of feel like psychologically its impact, again, the discipline of putting yourself in states of discomfort, breathing through the discomfort, is something that I've found very centering, because in many ways I share, a lot of the traits that Ruben has. Ruben is someone who's a workaholic, who's always on the go, and suddenly he defines himself through his creative passions. And when that's taken away from him, then he's often kind of it feels like he's sinking. And that's something that actually I experienced with COVID lockdown. And I found kind of that physical discipline of being in the body to be something that was very, very centering. And in a way, a way of keeping my my own addiction at bay, of workaholism.
Mm.